You know how much peace I have? I'm at the bank and it's being robbed. This is how much joy I have.
I joined that guy's cult immediately.
It's time to get wild.
That was wild.
Welcome to That Was Wild. I'm Adam Macias, and this episode is going to be wild. This is the show where I talk to my wildly funny friends about the wild people in the world so you can learn from their wild mistakes. And this show is fitting to be wild. Just a little preview. We're going to talk about the Hawk Tuah coin. Oh my gosh. She went to bed and I've been to sleep since. That's all I'm trying to say. We're also going to talk about the funny thing about nihilism just right before the holidays. And of course, a man who decided to live stream a bank robbery. It's just a wild week. But first, I'm joined by a very, very funny person. Super funny. This week's guest, he's a comedian. He's got a hilarious album called Spiritually Filthy. And he's co-host of the podcast Rebrand. It's Mort Burke, everybody.
What's up, Adam?
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful podcast studio.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I've built it myself with my own two hands.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like you hired a great artist. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Shout out to Mo, who designed this. And that art is designed. That's new art back there.
Yeah.
It's designed to mask the printer, but that's Andrew, who just made that beautiful art. He also does
metal.
he does my tattoos as well.
Nice.
I was staring at that while I was getting my leg just fucking chopped up, and I was like, "Yeah, that feels about right." And the world is beautiful music while we die, and so I was like, "Hey, let me get that off of you." Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. Mort, you're a hilarious comedian. You got a hilarious album called Spiritually Filthy. So funny.
Thanks, dude.
So funny.
Yeah, isn't it fun to have a fucking album? It's
I was
crazy.
gonna say, what?
Me and Steve Miller.
you Steve Miller.
Yeah.
Not a lot of comedians are producing albums. I mean that in a good way. Which I don't know how that would be an insult, but bear with me for a second. John Mulaney still puts out albums. Lots of greats still do that.
Yeah.
You are among them.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
And I count myself in that upper echelon. Me and Carlin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But all that to say, I think a lot of comedians nowadays just do video. I think growing up, we're probably around-ish the same age. I would say. Let's just say we're not tweens.
Tragically no longer
no tweens.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was at least album and video and special, right?
Yeah.
Now they're just doing special. They're not doing albums no more.
Yeah.
And I miss that.
Yep.
I like being able to stream, listen to the tracks.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
It does. We all want to be musicians, and it puts us a little bit closer to be able to pick out album art and stuff. Like I didn't want to deny myself that feeling because we shot it as a special. It is a special on YouTube.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's like 35 minutes, but then the people I worked with, 800 Pound Gorilla, who are like a media company that was started by Kevin Hart, and they were like, you can also just do an audio, and we'll put it on Apple and shit, and then you get I'm not rolling in dough from this album, but every once in a while it'll get on Sirius XM, and that's the way comics, like traveling comics, make money off their stuff.
It was before podcasts. That's what I used to do all the time.
Yeah.
Sirius XM comedy channel. Loved it.
Yeah, right? And you get introduced to new shit, and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
better than hearing...
Greg Giraldo and Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah.
The actual greats.
Yeah.
Not these fucking bozos now. Not present company excluded, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, man. So tell us about it. Where did you shoot it?
Yeah, so we shot it at the Yard Theater in Hollywood.
That's in the Yard?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you know that spot, huh?
I love the Yard.
So good.
That's so cool, man. So very funny special. So you're a clit man. That's kind of what you're...
Yeah, that's how I like to introduce myself to people. Every human who I've ever met, regardless of age.
No, I like... Well, that's one of my favorite bits. I won't spoil it. But your name is Mort.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, my name is Mort. I was talking about this on the special. Like, yeah, it's apparently it's a family. Like, I have an Uncle Mort, weirdly coolest dude alive.
Really?
Yeah, he's He was in a band called Diamond Stud, which is still a sick band name.
That's a sick ass name.
Yeah, dude. And
timeless.
Yeah.
Like diamonds.
That's right. Truly. Yeah. And a girl's best friend, like diamonds. He's like a Lou Reed, like a slightly more rockabilly Lou Reed.
Bisexual.
Yeah. Highly bisexual. Yeah. Hostily bisexual. Like bisexual and pissed about
That's
it.
actually so funny you say hostily because I read his book. And, Lou Reed's book.
Yeah.
And it's black. There's a cover. I had the hardcover when it first came out in high school, and I remember getting it. And there's a black like a cover on it, and then I remember opening it, which had it was just black, said Lou Reed or whatever, and then I took it off, and there was just a fucking penis on the front. I was like, God damn it, Lou.
Like unsheathed,
just
like a nude penis,
just drawn penis. I was like, God damn it,
That's our
Lou.
boy, yeah. Which is excellent. Like he was so far ahead of his time, but it did seem like he was mad about it.
Yeah,
like there is a violence to not telling someone before you expose them to a penis.
And I was like, God damn it, can I kick it? I guess.
I suppose I can, but if he would have been 20 years later, he just could have been attracted to transgender people, and it would not have been as big of a deal.
I think, if you read his book, there's a lot of it in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what his associate with war. I love Warhol and all that shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he would he hooked up with Walk on the Wild Side.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Kicked it for sure.
Oh boy, did he.
Anyways, so
smoking the worst meth.
So then that relates to Mort, your uncle Mort. Great.
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about my family. We just went on that highly bisexual riff.
So you grew up with the name Mort?
Yeah. So the joke is my parents, they almost named me Dylan, which is the coolest name in the world in my opinion.
That's a sick ass name. I heard that. I was like, I'm gonna put that in the little basket for names because that's a sick name.
It's a good one, right? It's rock and roll and artful.
Yes.
Yes. But instead they went with Mort, which is first of all, don't tell me that. Why would you tell me about the Dylan thing?
Yes.
And then it's like being like, hey buddy, happy birthday. We almost got you this Porsche. But instead we got you this picture of a guy getting his penis crushed by a garage door. You're like, I don't want the second one.
I don't want.
No, thank you.
Not it at all.
Like, you have to show that to everybody who asks what your name is now forever.
It's so messed up.
But I am such a Mort though. Like there's,
I will say the Mort is comedy. You probably wouldn't have been a comedian.
Yes.
If you were Dylan.
Yeah, I would be too busy having threesomes.
with Lou Reed, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
But speaking of too cool, you're a big skateboarder as well.
Yeah, I'm obsessed.
Hard to be a skateboarder named Mort, though, right?
Yes, I would say that's true. Although skateboarders do have very interesting names.
Yeah, what's the guy that does the crazy tricks? That's not doing the. You know what I'm talking about? There's a bunch of does this. He doesn't do the ramps. He just does.
So there's Rodney Mullen did the freestyle.
Yeah,
he's gone very viral.
Yes.
He's like the Beatles of skateboarding, right?
Right.
If you got to do different bands.
I would say he's like the. I was gonna say he's like the Velvet Underground of skateboarding.
Nah, see, the Velvet Underground is like Jim Greco. There are some guys who are so rock and roll, but he's the Beatles because he's there's something about him that is really, really wholesome, and he also invented so much shit.
You wouldn't say Tony Hawk is the Beatles.
Tony Hawk is maybe more. Tony Hawk's really interesting because okay, this is a beautiful conversation.
I love this.
For a long time, street skateboarding has been the most popular form of skateboarding. It was pushed by the magazines, and it's also highly accessible, right?
Yes.
So vert skating, it's gone through periods of being more and less popular.
Right.
It's getting back to a point where it's more popular mostly because of skate parks.
Right.
So it's almost an entirely different discipline, which is concrete. Right, which is more hesh, what they would call. So, and of course, Tony Hawk's been huge the entire time.
He's been around the whole time.
There's almost he maybe is closer to the Beatles. Yeah, that's good.
As far as popular, he was the peak. He has all of the things. When we think skateboarding, just
totally.
like when we think music.
Yep.
He's that.
So I'm trying to think of that era because he's not. Rodney Mullen's not the Rolling Stones because he's not rock and roll enough.
I would say he's the alts, right? When I think of the era of the 90s, when we're thinking who's maybe the the Beatles, who is doing the alternative to the whatever, the what Tony's doing. I would say I would have thought Mullen was doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be furious that I can't come up with a good example. Like, I'm gonna beat myself up for this all night. For
To be fair, this is a question that we should have prepared for.
No, this is because this is my favorite kind of conversation.
Who's your favorite skateboarders?
Oh my, who's your favorite child? The answer is this Jeff.
Dylan, Mort.
Favorites, man. My current favorite, I love this dude Kyle Wilson on Palace right now. Just fucking so sick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll go through phases like you do with bands.
Is it any relation to the Wilson brothers? Luke Wilson?
Oh, yeah, he's the third one.
Yeah, okay. But he was a skateboarder.
No.
No. I'm thinking of...
So Owen Wilson is in Yeah, Right, which is a Spike Jonze directed video. So there's that sketch where they do this. It's a masterful sketch where Owen Wilson memorized all these fucking skateboard terms, and it seems like he absolutely knows what he's talking about. And then they real quick, there's like an in-camera thing where the camera pans away very quickly to Rick Howard, and when it comes back, I think it's Eric Costin dressed as Owen Wilson, but it's so quick and clean, you think it's Owen Wilson. So that just perpetuated this beautiful fucking myth that Owen Wilson can frontside nose blunt handrails, because that's what he does, like dressed as Owen Wilson. But the interesting thing about that is they gave the script to Owen Wilson, and he was like, he was going to do it in like 2 days, and he's like, I need way more time. This is like memorizing Shakespeare. Because it's its own fucking language. Yeah,
wow. This is like memorizing Shakespeare. Wow. We're going to do a front side nose. Yeah.
I guess I don't want to take my own life. You have to cut that.
No.
I love, dude. Yeah, Rushmore, co-written by fucking Owen Wilson.
Yeah, he's great.
Saved my life in high school.
Yeah. Shanghai Noon.
Yeah, who is that?
Easily
Jackie Chan?
Yeah, Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Easily. Shanghai Nights.
Sure.
So
do
good.
They go back in time in these?
No. Period piece.
Really?
Piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it. To be fair, that's an easy thought, because it's like if Rush Hour was like, let's just go back in time.
Yeah.
It's like a Ninja Turtles.
That's the
3.
greatest. Here's $30 million. That's the best idea.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
And Chris Tucker was like, I'm busy apparently, and it was like, when Owen Wilson was like, wow, I think I'll do that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I'll take some money, please. I love the idea.
You have to take it out. You have to take it out.
Oh, wow, yeah, no, it's just constantly in between projects. So skateboarding is a passion of yours.
Yeah, so I'm obsessed with it the way most adult men are obsessed with like football or something. I still roll around. I still skate a little, but
I love that you call it rolling around.
Yeah, that's what I do. I love. There's skateboarding at night.
Think of it as rolling around.
It does make it sound very geriatric.
Yeah, I just love rolling around. What you do today? Just rolled around over the park.
Slowly rolled down the street. But dude, the skateboarding, just skating, no tricks, just pushing at night is glorious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very grateful that I'm still able to do that.
That's cool, man.
And skateboarding's the coolest. I don't understand why everyone doesn't do it. I barely graduated high school because I was learning kickflips, and it was the right call.
I was a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I was first off huge into inline skating.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk did the 900, and I was like, well, everybody's doing this now. I got to do that, because that sounds cool. Was into it. I was fairly getting into the Mullen shit. I loved that.
Freestyle.
Stuff.
Yeah, he does freestyle stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mainly because I tried doing a lot of kick flips and stuff like that, and something about my feet or something, my awkward, weird teen body.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to give this up, because I'm like hurting myself.
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. every time I do it, I fall on my ass.
Yeah.
I got the yips. Like,
you started yipping?
Yeah, I started yipping, bro.
Yip.
I couldn't successfully do it anymore.
Yeah.
I had like a hot minute where I could be able to like ollie over a sewer grate or whatever.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's
and
pretty
like
good.
attemptedly grind over stuff. And so my friends and I, we would make skate videos.
Sure.
And instead of me skating, I would just be like jumping off of shit.
Oh, you're doing parkour early on, way ahead of the curve.
Jumping
parkour
off of buildings and shit.
Yeah, just like Owen Wilson's next to you. He's like,
yeah.
Somebody calls in and says, "You want to do?"
Wow. You gonna write a note first, Adam?
It starts with wow, comma.
Wow, it's been a terrible life. Okay.
This is no one's fault. But God damn it.
So, did you do it? Did you ever try to do it professionally or anything?
I mean, I wanted to. That was kind of my dream, but I was nowhere near good enough. I was, we're talking, I was at the height of my skateboarding powers in like 1997, probably in St. Louis, Missouri. And I want to say I was the 25th best skateboarder in St. Louis.
Okay. And how many skateboarders were there?
Let's say 100.
Okay. Top 25. That's
Well,
that's
and this
pretty good.
is me working so hard.
That's still really good.
Yeah, I really did get, and I'm not like, I'm pretty good physically. Like my wife was like, she's like, we went to play volleyball, and she's like, oh, you're pretty good. I was like, yeah, I know. I look like I've only gamed. Like I've only played Warhammer my whole life, but like I can do physical shit. But skateboarding is so hard.
You are up on an uphill battle of a man named Mort.
Yeah.
Who wears glasses.
Yep. So I got something to prove. That's
Yes.
the other thing is like I'm okay with that stuff, but I also am very competitive because my name is Mort, and I'm afraid everyone's gonna bully me. So like it's just not a good. But that's why I like skateboarding. Because it's not competitive by nature. It's an art. It's a movement art form, basically.
Totally. Yeah.
Where you're fighting the concrete. You know, it's like being an NFL player, but instead of other football players, it's the fucking ground.
It's an art for sure. The only thing you're fighting is the security guard who's trying to chase you.
Yeah,
you know?
which is cool. It's like tough dancing. That's what it is.
Yes. Skateboarding is tough dancing.
It's macho dancing. It's loud. There's grinding, but it's also like, you want to get the form right.
It's for sure acrobatics.
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally.
You know, like you're doing pirouettes in the sky.
Yeah,
sometimes.
And great for teens who like want to get away from their house.
Yeah,
which is great.
And also want to punish your parents with like a trip to the hospital.
Yeah, medical bills. Totally. You see what you did to me, Daddy?
Well, if you didn't, maybe if you paid attention to me, I would have snuck outside.
Yeah, and got my 9th concussion.
That's why I can't do.
Crossed, like, try to send me to school or whatever. Just casts everywhere.
Amazing. Lots of concussions in your life?
Yeah, a bunch.
How many?
Hit my head a lot. I got a lot when I was really young for some reason. I wasn't being watched. I think I had 9 concussions by the time I was 10 years old.
No.
Yeah, and you can tell.
This is before skateboarding.
This is before skateboarding.
What?
Maybe my
you worried
worst
about CTE?
I don't believe in it. But
Okay.
I think it's a conspiracy against our NFL heroes. But somebody's trying to take Soros is taking them out. But I'm not terribly concerned. I'm 44, and I feel like my intelligence level has remained, let's say, slightly above average this whole time. I haven't noticed much decline, although I do sometimes forget words like pencil and cat. Stuff you should know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's in the later years you got to worry about. You're still kind of relatively in your prime.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason I got married. Sorry, honey. Somebody's gonna have to take care of this happy little vegetable.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta lock somebody down.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, hey, something you're worried about.
Yeah, so when you're like,
hey,
they need to chew your food for you.
Yeah, and wipe your ass.
Yeah, totally. And you don't want. I apologize for my darkness, but you don't want the WWF wrestler.
Yeah, the Chris Benoit. Well, I didn't want to bring it up. You're the one with 9 fucking CTEs, bro. I didn't want to fucking.
Okay, yes.
We're all thinking it.
But also,
you're the one that.
So
I don't even know if you knew what it was.
Okay, I'm going to say the most controversial thing I've ever said in public right now. Let's say it was 90% the CTE, but also some of the violence had to have been like, this guy's fighting people his whole life. You know what I mean? If anything, I'm going to be telling queef jokes to like an audience that is not there. You know what I mean?
So you're saying it's more of a flashback to like maybe what he's used to kind of every day. Like he just kind of went into like maybe like a drone mode of like what he's like, oh, I'm into work mode.
His whole life he's been practicing.
Yeah. So like maybe if somebody with 9 concussions and CTE was an accountant, they would start, balancing their checkbook.
Yeah.
Or at their parents.
Yeah, if you're a Buddhist monk, you're just like very calm.
Yeah, he just so happened to have
he was very strong.
Body slamming his kids.
That's not going to happen to me.
You're going to do queef jokes at your wife.
I'm going to try and put her in an oven, and she's going to just gently push me down into a chair.
Oh man. Well, good luck with that. And that sounds terrifying and horrifying. But that's
I'm glad to make this such a wholesome episode.
well, speaking of your wife, she's in one of my favorite shows, Mythic Quest. Shout out to that.
Mythic Quest. Yeah, I'm on a couple episodes. And I'll be on a couple this season.
Oh,
as well.
wonderful. When's that drop?
It's coming out in January.
Ooh, I love that show.
It's good, right?
Such a fun show.
Yeah.
Very fun show. What's it like working with old Mr. Mac?
Robbie McSee.
Yeah.
You know, as fit as you would hope. Just a real dreamboat body-wise. Always got a fresh pair of Jordan J3s on.
Really?
Yeah, he's wearing Jordans. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Totally. I clock shoes from the skateboarding thing. I'm always like,
Yeah.
He's a funny dude, man. I really like. It's fun when he and David Hornsby do shit together.
Yeah, I love those guys.
You know what I mean? Hornsby is so friendly and fun and weird, and those guys, and I keep pitching that David Hornsby and I find out that we're actually
brothers,
fraternal twin brothers
I can
later
see that.
in the show, right?
I could totally see that.
But yeah, him and McElhaney together, you can feel the these guys have been working together
forever
on television for 18 years.
Yes.
You
but you and Hornsby could do something fun together.
Right?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, totally.
You just kind of look at each other like two betas meeting each other.
I'm the only guy he can bully or whatever.
Yeah.
My question is though, can you be a beta with a huge penis? Like that, I just don't.
And you're asking that for Hornsby or yourself?
Yeah, I've seen his. It's terrifying.
But let's quickly talk about your podcast, Rebrand, that you just started, which you're trying to rebrand yourself as a guy with a big penis, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. My wife and I, we just put out our 9th episode. It's called Rebrand. She writes and directs on Mythic Quest. She's a hilarious comedian, all this stuff.
Amazing.
So I've been begging her to do a podcast with me for like a very long time, and she's finally said yeah. And it's great. We put out 9 episodes. We rebrand. We posit ourselves as rebranding geniuses. We rebrand an episode rebranding Wyoming. We did an episode
Fandom.
Yep, Fandom, the most recent one with Jamie Manelis, which is amazing.
So funny.
She was really, I thought, very vulnerable to come in and talk to us about her obsessive love for Bright Eyes and Green Day.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, Green Day that hit everybody. I was right there.
Yeah.
Huge
Were
Green
you a
Day.
Dookie guy?
I was just, it's so funny. I was literally just talking. I tried to do some crowd work this weekend. And I was like, who you stand for? I was like, Green Day. And I was like, me too. And then I moved on because I had nothing for them.
Well, the stuff that you genuinely like, it's so hard to make fun of.
I was like, I had no notes.
Well, wonderful band. You're just remembering junior high or whatever, and then you're like.
But no, I was a fan. I was like, oh yeah, Minority and Dookie, and I was like, but then American Idiot came out, and that just hit me so strong.
Same with her. She loved.
Yes,
she was American.
yeah.
I think it's like a generational thing a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we must have. I think she even mentioned she even said something about how her things were not great at home. I was like, yep, for me as well.
Yeah.
Divorce, around the divorce time, it was something about that as well.
Yeah, there's a freedom and an abandon to that kind of fucking real simple punk bass.
And then something about the idea of a concept album. I've never even heard of that.
That was your first experience of that. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. It was concept albums. That sounds cool. Anyways, musicals, boo, lame, lame.
The exact same thing except fun. No thanks.
Lame. I don't want nobody tap dancing to this. That's so stupid.
Yeah, and she, which they weren't wrong about their politics at the time. You know what I mean? Which is
100%,
cool,
yeah.
Right? And although actually it was said on the podcast that was the only protest music at the time. That's not true. Hip hop was doing a lot of really good protest.
I was like, have you heard of Anti-Flag? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and a lot of punk, right? And there's some great
Bad Religion.
There's some great indie.
Flogging Molly. Did you
hip-hop.
go to Van's tour at all? Jesus.
You scream that at my wife next time you see her. I don't want to hang out with Adam anymore.
She's probably watching this now okay.
I'm real mad about the Vans tour. Maybe the point is highly popular protest music, which is a different thing.
Which is true because in the 60s there was most of 60s popular music was protest music.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the point of the what you say.
Totally. And socially aware, whereas now it's much easier to middle of the road, stay inoffensive in an extremely corporately supported way.
Which is ironically something we're going to talk about today.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Which maybe you can help us rebrand some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of what we're talking about today. But before we do, we're going to talk about some wild things happening in the world.
Yeah.
before we get into the wild things happening in the world, we're going to put you through some wild scenarios, okay?
Fun.
I'm going to show you a video, and I just want to know, like, what would you do in this situation, okay? This is a video I came across, and I just want to know how you would react if you saw this in the wild.
Feel free. He's a cheater.
Okay, so for anybody listening, this is a woman with pushing a baby carriage stroller and a man with some sort of sign.
Cheater!
Walking through a mall or an auto mall. The sign says, "I had a 2-year affair."
Look at the cheater. Turn around for your fans. He had a 2-year affair while I had his second baby. We intentionally had a second baby, and he was having an affair the whole time.
All right, Mort, what are your thoughts?
In reality, what I would do is stand there, and as soon as they pass by, immediately call a very good friend and tell them what had just happened.
Okay, actually, you're in the mall.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, and then I'm like, "Hey, would you mind filming? Can you hold my camera for a second? My family and I we want to film a quick video real quick.
Yeah.
Can you hold my phone?
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
And then feel free to, and then you would react however you're going to react. Okay. All right. Are you filming?
Yeah, I'm filming. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, my husband's a fucking cheater. He's a cheating. And make sure you get the right frame of this.
I went ahead and live streamed.
Okay,
if that's okay. I went ahead and live streamed on
You're live
on my
streaming this
Instagram. So this is going out to couple thousand people right now. Just so you
how
know.
many followers do you have?
Yeah, I have we're 2,800 and climbing.
Oh wow, fantastic. Well, yeah, please, you can follow me at Adam R. Mac. But anyways, cheater.
Yeah.
So that's how you would react to this?
Yeah, I really like I really like how into public humiliation we are now, just culturally. Like all of our rage has centered on like the high of watching someone publicly suffer.
The shaming and domination of another thing.
Yeah.
I do think it's like, it's a weird video because I'm like, is this fake? Like this seemed like so staged. She's laughing about it.
Right.
This also is like, is this some sort of kink thing?
Right.
If you go back on the video, the guy's kind of like, he's like being too schlubby. He's like the perfect like all of this is such a perfect casting. I do love. I just noticed she has a coffee cup.
Yeah,
she got time to get coffee.
Yeah, they went by coffee bean before that.
She's dressed she's kind of a baddie in a really nice way too.
Yeah,
like,
she's kind of like a tasteful goth babe.
Tasteful goth. Yes, like there is a BDSM element that's happening
she's got a
to
choker.
this.
If I was him, I'd be dancing. I'd moonwalk and like
you own it.
Yeah,
you would own it.
Oops.
You're doing this into like a Maury thing.
Yeah, I would do. Yeah, it'd be. I have the response of not the father. Yeah. And I hope for these two that this heals their relationship. You know what I mean? Maybe this was
what is the next step? Okay, so
maybe this is suggested by their therapist. Like, if you want to get over this thing, you have to publicly act out your rage, and you have to make amends by being humiliated at Westfield Plaza Mall.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense to get the public humiliation out of there because you expel all of your anger, right?
Yeah.
And then you come back into the therapy session and be like, how did that go? Well, obviously, you got to feel the shame of being caught. Yeah. Which is why all cheaters do it at the end of the day.
Wow.
Right.
Beautiful. There's a high to the danger.
Yes.
And then you get caught.
And then the guy also gets to advertise he's open for business.
Yeah. By the way, I satisfied 2 ladies.
I get down. I get down. He's also advertising, hey, I fuck.
Yeah, I straight up fuck.
Hey, bad move, lady.
Yeah, I'm fertile. I
fuck.
And also, you know what makes me think it's real is the 2-year affair thing. The specificity of that is so well written that if it's fake, they deserve this viral fame. And what does it say underneath? It's got some more writing at the bottom.
That'd be great if it's his phone number. Call me for a good time.
Picture with his shirt off.
But there's like hearts on it though, right? Like, let's see. Can I zoom in on this video? Well, let me. Oh, yes.
Yeah. What does it say?
Oh, yeah. Asking you to tell me about it. And then,
that's funny.
The idea, there's this like, these little red quote things.
Oh, it's a broken heart.
Oh, see, I don't know.
You think it's fake?
Somebody spent time on this.
Yeah.
It's like I was watching this scene in Day of the Jackal, where there's like a protest, where they're like, you know, they're protesting something, which is obviously a very triggering. First off, that show is crazy right now because it's like about assassinating like political figures, which is crazy for a lot of reasons. Because lots of things people are trying to be assassinated right now.
Yeah,
presidents can, CEOs, right?
Yep,
insane things, which is insane. But then which
is weird because we only flooded the country with guns. I don't know, it's weird.
The best meme, by the way, Europeans looking at America being like trying to solve our health insurance with guns.
Totally. It is like a doctor, like it's just a picture of a doctor like pushing an AK into somebody's, like a sick person's mouth and being like, is this doing it?
It's like it's somehow working.
They feel great.
But it's wild because there's a protest, which is like there's so many protests happening. In the TV show, the protest signs are so well done, which is like such a funny thing to me because it's clearly an art department.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been to a fucking real protest, they're like trash. You know, like they're not, these are like hastily
it's busy
written.
Working people who like just got up their job.
They're like hastily written and like angry, and they're not like well-written markers, and like they're clearly like art design.
It doesn't look like this.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what tells me this might be
too nice.
This is too nice.
Two things real quick. With the art department thing, that's why I know I look like I wrote Game of Thrones. But I'm such a badass, actually. It's funny. I'm like a cool nerd. But I can't watch that shit too because I'm always thinking of the art department person being like, I'm gonna kill it with this dragon egg. You know what I mean?
No, and I don't want to slam the art department. I think with
and those people are beautiful.
They're amazing people.
Artists,
I have a lot of art department friends.
Fuck yeah, and it's a really cool job.
They're true artists.
Yes.
Sometimes things get overlooked with time and all that stuff with film and stuff.
Yep.
With that one, I was just like, okay, somebody fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because that is not, that somebody just was like, I'm going to fucking make the most, somebody is too, somebody had amazing handwriting.
Yes.
And it was like, they didn't think like other people they didn't put themselves in that, whatever.
They didn't act they didn't act moment as the protester.
That's what I think, to me, is screaming here of like, maybe she is immaculately dressed, so maybe she is
Looks
that type
great.
of person that have great penmanship.
Right.
And maybe I'm coming from a place where like I have terrible penmanship and I don't believe anybody who does
and I never
have good
look that good also.
Yeah.
And like she has a baby, you know what I mean? So no,
who has the time for this?
All mothers, they always look exhausted.
Yes.
But I will say this though, the presentational aspect of it could also be part of like his punishment. You know what I'm saying? So here's what okay. You know what I mean? Like we're not half-assing this thing. Like he had to live with her while she made that sign.
We're even talking about it as part of the punishment.
He's like, do we have to bring the baby? She was like, oh yeah.
Yes.
So, but here's what I think is excellent about this because, so masculine is doing and feminine is being. And societally, we have no incentivization for being in any capacity. So we're all out of balance in doing. All of us, in fact, we hate being because if it doesn't produce anything, right? So because of that, women, we hate femininity. That's why all the homophobia, all the misogyny, all this stuff.
Yes.
So women forever have had no opportunity to it's very difficult to protect yourself against men, and then also men are not held accountable, right? We know that from all the judicial systems. It's becoming more and more clear, you know what I mean? So unfortunately, shit like that is the only way they could take their power back, and it is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and so to further that point, even if this is fake, it's still good. It's still cool because
a cheater might think,
like, hey, maybe next time I don't want to be blown up like this.
Unless they want to get caught, and then he's like, damn, I really hope my wife.
Maybe next time I'll put my phone number on the.
I want 3 million likes.
Wild, just a wild thing that happened. All right, let me show you another video. What would you do if you saw a guy doing this?
You know how much peace I have? I'm at the bank and it's being robbed. This is how much peace I have.
Anyone else in this house?
This is how much joy I have.
Do not move. Everyone, let me see your hands. Put your phone down. Get away from us now.
All right.
Watch, I'm gonna check the rest of this. You hold him. Watch the rest of this. Don't move.
I
This
just
is how much peace I have, yo.
I just love that she's still going. He's like, yeah, no problem, I'll stop.
That I joined that guy's cult immediately. Immediately become his at his tutelage.
Yes.
I put him up with people who I believe are publicly enlightened. I'm talking Eckhart Tolle. I'm talking Ram Dass.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. Why do the people robbing the place, they look like cops, but they're just dudes in.
No, so I think
robbed.
This is got robbed, and he's streaming it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Like I just got robbed. Everything's got robbed, but hey, it's all good, yo. Like,
dude, he's my new favorite comedian. He's my new favorite
give this man
spiritual
a
leader.
podcast,
Dude, if he has music of any kind, I want to hear it immediately.
Please support this person. What's his name? Trumpet in the Sky.
Dude, I wonder if he plays trumpet.
He's probably religious, to be honest with you.
I bet he's spiritual and not religious. Although maybe.
Okay, so you're just you in that bank, and so we just got through a bank robbery, right?
Yeah.
And so I bust on my phone. Hey folks, you know how much peace I have? We just got robbed.
Hey man.
Wait, hold on a second. What?
Hey,
Yeah.
how many and what kind of edibles are you on currently?
Oh, actually, it's I'm just high on life.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I peed my pants during the robbery.
Really?
Yeah, I still got pee on.
I think usually I did too, but it's all good, man.
You're chill with that?
Yeah. It's just presence in mind, dude.
God damn.
Yeah.
Dude.
Actually, I'm also high on my own supply of happiness.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And a little bit of methamphetamines or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Lots of meth.
Hey, you want to dance?
100%. And then it's cheater.
She comes in with a baby.
Amazing. This guy is a legend for sure.
I can't, dude. Where do we know? Is this Los Angeles? Where is this guy?
Trumpet in the Sky. Let's see.
Because that's the thing. Like, yeah, you can talk about spirituality all day long, but wait until you were just in a violent armed bank robbery and see how you feel.
Yeah, he's only got 161 followers. Wow, he's not even. This video didn't even pop off that well. It's only 30,000 views.
Yeah, it's not as big as it should be.
Wow.
When is his last one?
Now that we've
wow, just like last week.
Yeah, he's still posting. Hell yeah.
entered into the cold season, we've got to bring up a very important topic, and that's seasonal depression.
This video is
It's a very real thing.
9 minutes long.
Not
Very
long
rough.
enough, I say. I say the rest of this episode is just us watching all of his 10-minute videos.
9 minutes long. That is wild.
That guy's the
Crazy.
shit. What does he say? Gabriel the Angel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
damn, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's religious. Okay. So speaking of getting robbed, Hawk Tuah. Hawk Tuah. Familiar with this? Have you heard of this woman?
Our generation's Lucille Ball. She's our Gilda Radner. That's what we've got.
I mean, the world is a wild place.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I don't blame her for any of this. Like, she
No.
was just a kid being an idiot. I was a kid who was an idiot.
100%.
You know what I mean? But for some reason,
Yes.
America was like, we're projecting all of our weird, suppressed sexuality and like
Yes.
hatred of ourselves.
Well, I think hustle culture is ultimately, and capitalism is ultimately to blame for all of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is what I find to be the funniest thing about all this. So for those of you not familiar with who Hawk Tuah is, which I don't know, we've talked about her on the show before. Hawk Tuah was, AKA Haley Welch. She was made wickedly famous by a viral video where she said, by asking the question, what's one thing you do in bed that makes the men go crazy? She says, what did she say? Hawk Tuah, you got to spit on that thing.
Gotta spin that thing.
Bam.
Yeah.
People were searching for her because, it went crazy, over-sexualizing, over-stimulating people.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like it was an especially horny video.
Yes.
Pardon that phrasing. That made it to Facebook. And people, you know what I mean?
People went crazy. There was a manhunt for her. More of a manhunt for her than the guy who shot the CEO, the United CEO.
America wanted her caught first.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They since found her and gave her a podcast, which they probably will for the shooter for the CEO. I think probably.
Dude, people would love it, man.
I bet you they will.
He's gonna have to do one from jail.
He
if
would
possible.
definitely will have a YouTube channel. I can guarantee that.
Yep.
If they don't take him out. Yeah, so she had a podcast. Whitney Cummings has been on a bunch of. I think Mark Cuban was recently on it, which is wild. She recently launched Hawk Coin last week. As we were recording this, it'll be 2 weeks since it's been out. So when this drops, and it's not been going very well.
I like how you become a little bit Italian whenever there's like a financial crisis.
It's not been going well. I think to better explain this, I'm going to let somebody slightly smarter than me who does it better.
Let's talk about this Hawk Tuah girl controversy. So here's the deal. Hawk Tuah girl is the most recent influencer to launch a crypto meme coin. It's called the Hawk coin. It went live yesterday after a lot of promotion, and she even did an interview with Fortune about it, claiming that it wasn't just a cash grab. But their manager then also claiming that the Hawk token, it'll be different from other previous celebrity crypto endeavors because they're not telling people to buy it and will give free tokens to her followers and people who have purchased merch. And with that, also claiming that Haley will own 10% of the supply, but can't sell for a year. But seemingly one of the immediate responses to this coin was a lot of skepticism. Some saying, it seems like she's maybe going to be talking to a judge. With also huge influencers in the space like CoffeeZilla adding, please do not put your money in Hawk Tuah coin. With a lot of people discussing how the coin had already plummeted substantially. So with that, some have accused her and insiders of a pump and dump scheme, though Haley's denied that anyone on her team has sold yet and said no leaders were given free tokens. You also had others online talking about how much money they ended up losing. Though there, I will say it appears that there's like a mishmash if you look online of some people that seem to have legitimately lost money and other people just kind of memeing and making fun of those who did. Because really, whoever's losing money on this, if you look online, there's not a lot of sympathy for them. Right? Who's out there going, out of everyone in the space, Hawk Tuah is the girl that's figured it out.
And what they're saying about it is that the people who bought it were people who are not experienced in crypto stuff and are not extremely online, right?
Yeah.
So that's how they were able to sell it.
And that is this, but unfortunately, so I kind of did a bit of a deep dive. Unfortunately, was the whole point of this.
Right.
Is that this was specifically targeted towards people who are not in this space.
Yeah, more likely to be scammed.
Yeah.
Yep.
More likely, and general people who are just not informed with this stuff. I guess the wild thing is like, okay, so this guy who is loosely associated with Howie Mandel is in charge of Hawk Tuah's fucking meme coin. It's like Howie Mandel's like son-in-law or something like that is like in charge of like this whole operation apparently, and it's also kind of like in charge of the this scam. Allegedly, essentially, it's looking like Haley might be going to jail.
Really?
Like for real, like pretty bad. Like it looks like she sold it before it dropped, so it doesn't look like it did. But anyway,
it's like insider trading, basically. Yeah. She set this whole, in theory, she actually, the people that came to her with this project set the entire thing up, right? Yeah. So it would, I'm assuming, have to be proven that this was intentional on her part. I'm the opposite of a lawyer, but that's
I'm the opposite of a lawyer. I'm a skateboarder. I'm a skateboarder.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts on Hawk Tuah? Meme coins in general.
Yeah, well, first of all, I can rebrand it.
Oh.
Which is that, unfortunately, she hasn't stayed. The only way this could have been bigger, right, is if, A, it would have been, I don't know what sort of graphics they used, but it should have been the water, liquid emoji, and then an eggplant. That would have sent it from $1.2 million, because she would have stayed consistent with her branding.
Right.
Or if she wants to move away from this branding, it becomes a picture of a hawk and a number 2. And then she could start to distance herself from the over-sexualization of the entire thing. It becomes empowering and in touch with nature. That also, I'll give that to her for free.
Yes.
And I think we, much in the way we completely threw a young Britney Spears to the wolves.
Yes.
If you watch any of that stuff. We did know, like, obviously this poor young person saw like wild pornography at too young of an age, like all of us, right?
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guilty.
100% guilty.
Yeah, right. And so then she just is. She all she is emblematic of this society, right? Which is like we gave her vegetables, and that's, or we gave her McDonald's, and that's what came out.
100%.
You know what I mean? And then she gets elevated through no fault of her own to this like place in which she doesn't belong.
People were telling her to hustle. Hey, be famous, make money. And all she was doing was minding her own business.
Yep.
Having fun and being a 19-year-old or however old she was.
Yeah, being like crazy and silly.
It's just being asked a question, and now she is being somehow being taken advantage of by Howie Mandel's fucking brother-in-law, who started a Cayman Islands bank account that was is tricking people out of their life savings.
Yeah.
All because why? Because we're told to make a lot of money, and that's the goal of America. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
And there are like conglomerates and entire billion-dollar industries set up. And brilliant people also. Like, that's the other kind of tragic thing, is like so many people who are inherently curious or have like math geniuses, right? They're not going to be like creating new kinds of physics, or writing new kinds of poetry.
Yes.
They're going to exploit Hawk Tuah to make $1.6 million in fucking crypto coin, which is a sentence I never hope to say again. You know what I mean? And then hope that she takes
Hawk
the
3.
Hawk 3. Hope that she takes the fall. This poor fucking innocent. It's like doing that to a baby. She doesn't. She doesn't
know.
Even to insult her intelligence. She shouldn't know about this shit.
She shouldn't.
It's invented to be confusing. Here's my one last thing about crypto coin. Hey, bros, did we think capitalism worked so great that inventing a new kind of money is going to help things? Or do we think maybe it'll be exactly the same, but worse?
The irony of it is that crypto was designed to disrupt capitalism. Supposedly, it was designed to level it out.
Supposedly.
Well, I will say it was.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, drug dealers were like, well, we could fucking pay for drugs this way.
Yeah.
Then white collar criminals were like, well, fuck, we could hide our fucking crimes this way too.
Yeah.
And then so the idea of like making it so people with bad credit scores or who weren't able to receive certain advantages and stuff like that, like, oh, well, there goes that idea. So like, just like every other fucking money system ever.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like it was like, hey, just like every money system, like, hey, it would be cool to be able to like trade our values for stuff. Okay, cool. And then rich people and criminals took advantage of it, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, there goes that. And it's almost like when you like start acting like fucking commodities, and we act like when treat like fucking individualism is valued over community. The idea of that, we start treating other people like fucking shit.
Speak on it, brother.
It's almost like when we think about only ourselves.
Yep.
We treat other people like fucking garbage.
Yeah, it's incentivized to be amoral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To treat another person like an object is actually, you're really highly rewarded for that.
The irony, the funniest fucking thing for me, there's lots of funny things for me for this, but it's if speaking on like community and giving back and then in individualism, the fucking amazing thing to me is like her fame is based off of Hawk Tuah spitting on that thing, right?
Sure.
Which is some would say giving back.
Yeah.
And now
it's incredibly generous to spit on that thing.
It's incredibly.
Yeah, selfless.
What is she getting out of that?
She's getting no pleasure from that.
Nothing.
Yeah,
out of
that's
that.
right.
And now what is happening? She's taking.
That's right.
She took.
Yeah.
She stole.
Mm-hmm.
She took for herself.
I would say we still don't know how much she knew.
Yeah.
You know what I
You're
mean?
right.
Like, I think I don't even know. Right. If there was a lawsuit or a criminal case.
Allegedly she took. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
Because what did they said? They said she got 50% of the net worth earnings.
Right.
But that's from a person who is clearly being dishonest anyway.
Uh-huh.
So it's also possible that they were like, I think they said she got like $450,000 and then plus.
So there's some more details I want to show before some more stuff here.
I love how into the weeds we're getting on this.
Because it is truly crazy. I mean, we started only 6 months ago as this person of like, we got to find her. What a delightful thing to happen in the internet.
Well, that's
and now she's might be going to jail.
And right, no, that's a great point. Like with the character arc is like just a fucking line up, line down, and everything's moving much faster now. And I think what's kind of fascinating is I believe we're in sort of like a time of transparency, you know. And so the interesting side effect of the new capitalism of crypto coin being put online is it's all documented. So whereas before cash, you could work in the shadows, right?
And that's the hard part of what they're all saying is like, oh, nobody took anything. It's like, you could see it. You can't lie.
Right, exactly.
You can't fucking lie.
Because it exists online where everything is recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
So this whole like transparency thing is, you know, if you think about it in those terms, like, and sort of like Cat Williams is talking about that.
Yes.
Well, shout out. But whatever, like, you know, from Me Too to there's all this like dark, shadowy stuff that everybody for a long time was able to pretend wasn't there. But now with the internet, whether it's like, you know, the genocide happening in Palestine or, you know, not to belittle anything, but I'm just saying like we didn't used to get images of war piped directly into our pockets like that. It's like more and more transparency, which is really hard, but also gives human beings the opportunity to change the systems that are deeply unloving. I should drop the mic after that. That shit was tight.
That was awesome. Well done, dude. Honestly, well done. It's such a crazy thing to be happening. It's the boring dystopia. It's that funny feeling, you know, like I think there's, you know, the Bo Burnham song of like, you know, of that funny feeling of that you get of like when these things are happening and that mix of, you know, of our TikTok feeds of like, you know, buy now, target him, and then like Ukraine, and then like, you know, fucking Trevor Wallace video, and like it's all these things are happening. It's like, and then at the same time, you know, like, you know, the Macy's Days Parade is happening, and I've recently kind of discovered this idea of like, this may be something you can help with Rebrand, because I think it's a terrible fucking name of capitalistic nihilism. And how tragic optimism, which is just a hilarious, can help you cope with it. Because I feel like shout out to this creator who's an amazing creator who I recently discovered. Her name is Deja, who kind of dives into Viktor Frankl's work, but she had this really great video that we can get into. But capitalistic nihilism essentially is just the feeling of boring dystopia of like, there's nothing we could do, and it's just kind of always coming at us. And capitalism is inevitable, and it's just going to be always like, it's that funny feeling of like, we're just kind of constantly being consumed, and you know, Donald Trump is winning. A rapist got elected, and then the Macy's Day Parade is telling us to go watch Wicked. You know, like that feeling of like, what is happening to what, like, life moves on, but I guess that's good. You know, like, and to what end? You know,
it's the experience of being like, hey, eat some steak. Okay, now eat some, chew some gum. Okay, now eat a fucking wedding cake. Okay, now have like a pancake. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it all tastes bad.
But to go back to Haley thing real quick, the irony now that when you Google Hawk Tuah bed, it used to be her first catchphrase, which she now asks on her podcast.
So what's one move in bed that makes a woman go crazy?
What's the one move in bed, right? But unfortunately, it is now this.
Hey guys, I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But anywho, I'm going to go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Man, this really does feel like emblematic of the way we treat women in our society. You know what I mean? Which is like, okay, we're going to exploit you as sexual beings. Okay, we're now going to use you.
And spit her out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, spit her out on that thing, and that
spit
thing
her
is our fucking for-profit prison system.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, Haley, and I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody's mad at Haley.
But doesn't that seem like a person who has no idea what they've gotten into?
Yeah.
I love what you were saying about sort of the effect, the online effect of the constant images and narrations, and to me, again, and with the idea of feminine being the ability to be. I think that the only respite from absorbing the corporately financed constant projection of images and narratives into our consciousness is to take some time with ourselves and simply be. Because when they say like go outside and touch grass.
Yeah.
Grass is nature. And the other thing that is nature is your internal life.
Yeah.
And we all have so much fucking fear and tumult.
Yeah.
Like, it's in the same way we invented therapy like 10 minutes ago. So it's just been...
In the scale of humanity.
Just generations of people having like terrible internal lives and no way to talk about it. And either
I think about that all of the time. Like, I think I'm like, okay, but goddamn, like, how bad were my grandparents? How bad were their parents?
Right.
How bad were their parents?
Yeah, man.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
over in Ireland, what the fuck was happening over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I believe before Ireland was colonized, like all indigenous cultures, they had their own...
They must have been like...
spirituality that allowed them to exist within harmony with the universe. They almost always believe in animism, right? Which is the idea that everything... They would say like everything has a spirit, but we would maybe say like everything has a consciousness of some kind.
It kind of made sense why they were fighting over religion, though. Like, back then, it was just like, no, you guys need this. Like, you need to go talk to a priest every day.
Right.
You need to go, like, yell at God every day.
Because
like, you motherfuckers need this. You know, like,
you're all hammered drunk, and we need to go to work.
Like, because they weren't drinking water. So they were drunk, and they were, like, mad, and they didn't have emotion, like, ways to figure out emotions. Like, you guys need to go talk to somebody somehow.
When they get colonized, it's the same. Look what happens when people get colonized. They turn into alcoholics, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened with the Native Americans. That's what happened with the fucking Irish, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens because you remove the spiritual connectedness that is required to have like a full heart. And that can be anything, right?
Yeah.
And so what's also interesting is in the same way that the cryptocurrency was intentionally designed to disrupt capitalism, religion was originally designed to facilitate that spiritual connection. So Catholicism, I was raised Catholic. What was originally everyone was supposed to be able to hear confession, and then they changed it so only the priests were. So it took this ability of away from us to heal each other.
What?
To present feminine space to listen, to hear. Because that's part of healing trauma is to be with someone.
The community aspect.
Yes.
Somebody with power.
Yes. It's the same way why like cults kind of work. Like, because Scientology kind of works, but it's a money cult that is exploitive. You have to take that out. They're already after me. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's like there's this natural aspect that we have and we've learned ways to heal each other. Like, we shouldn't have to pay. I love therapy, but we shouldn't have to exclusively pay somebody $200.
Yeah.
We should all have some sort of training where we like give and receive in that capacity, because we're all capable of making space.
Well, I think there's a lot to, speaking of like the touching grass, I think another aspect of that is like family, right? There's family in people. And, you know, obviously that does not mean like, you know, if you have a bad family, I do not mean like, go be with your bad family, right? Like, I think you and I will probably resonate with
chosen
that.
Family, yeah.
Your chosen family, but like people, real people, like connections are important if that's your thing as well. I think the people that are chasing those hallmark moments in the Macy's Day Parade, finding that in real life and not finding it at Walmart.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are chasing it because they see it sold at Walmart and then wanting to bring it home, and people are more focused on what was bought at Walmart rather than what was the scene at Walmart. You know what I mean? I keep saying Walmart, but like the turtleneck, the fire, the hug, and the conversation.
Yeah.
That's the part that's healing ultimately. It's not necessarily the fucking it's not necessarily like the fucking toy. I think about this all the time, and I have a bit about this that I'm like slightly working on, which I'll find burning. But I realize that my family is dysfunctional, especially around Christmas. For a lot of reasons. Because my wife's family is not dysfunctional.
Oh, wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it could, because a really wild thing is I learned this because it really depends on how your family goes about opening presents. Now, let me ask you this: does your family, when you go about opening presents on Christmas, if you do you guys take turns, or do you guys just kind of all open them up at once?
It's been so long. I think we take turns. I think.
Right, and that's the dysfunctional thing. Because when you're all doing it at once, it's more about the experience. It's more about talking, and you're just conversing. It's not about the thing. Because when you're in the dysfunctional family, you're looking at the thing and you're hoping that the thing that you're opening is going to fix you,
Mm.
or you're judging that what grandma got you means that she loves you more,
Yeah.
or something like that. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you, my most wonderful Christmas present ever was a skateboard at 8 years old.
And like, oh, and that means, and then your brother thinks like, oh, mom loves you more than like, oh, I can't believe, look at all that joy that Mort has right now. I hope I get that much joy.
Yes.
And if I don't, dad doesn't love me as much.
And that's what I'm trying to kind of get towards is like, I fully agree that what capitalism almost so easily exploits us because of an inherent sense of lack. So that's why I often will point to indigenous cultures, because this is not, all times have been hard in human history, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that shit was perfect by any means.
Yeah.
But there is something that is uniquely Western that I can really identify, which is a lack of belief that we have any value inherently. And even the word value is weird because of capitalism. We think that value means better than someone else or worse, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this unnameable, ineffable thing that some people would call a soul or whatever, but this energy that we all have that connects ourselves with each other, let alone our infinite number of cells, the nervous system that works on its own, the heart beating, the fact that our eyes are more complex than any camera, the grasping thumb, like all of those miracles exist within us at all times. And we're completely unable to view ourselves with anything other than really like either low self-worth or a kind of self-worth that comes from dominance. And I really see it in incels.
Oh yeah.
And this is in no way to justify that attacking misogynistic behavior, but something about our culture said to those kids like, hey, if you don't fuck a hot lady, then you have no value. And that they're saying that to like a 15-year-old boy who is all hormones and bad skin and nervous and lonely and weird. So they're looking for community based on this lie that they don't have any value.
Competition.
Yep, exactly.
Rugged individualism.
And I don't know if you've ever hung out with an alpha, but it is fucking lame.
You're doing it right now.
Well, dude,
we're both doing it right now, bro.
I know it's funny, but I mean, we both go on stage, right? There's an aspect of that is a beautiful part of humanity, right?
Yeah.
But when you start to exist in a way where it's just such a stupidly limited,
it's so lame
way to view something.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
yeah, I think we've talked about it. Like alpha dads are the worst and stuff. Well, yeah,
because you're wholly, because you don't believe you have a feminine aspect of your being, because we hate feminism. You're cutting yourself off from a huge aspect of yourself. And when you're out of balance like that, you become dangerous and unhealthy.
Yeah, 100%. When you just generally ignore a part of yourself in general, it is not going to be good for anyone, especially yourself. When you're just
the people that love you.
Yeah, exactly. When you don't know thyself, it's not going to be good for something. But let's talk about that funny feeling real quick, because this is an updated version that happened happened right after the elections that nailed it pretty good for me. That hopefully will bring some light.
Rizzler on the Fallon Show, Heatwave Halloween. Auto-tuning racist rants that sound like Dancing Queen. Podcast insurrectionists and porn stars going trans. A toddler on a gurney interrupted by an ad. Kamala on SNL, chlorine in the air. Arguing for hours over why I should take the bear. Birth control, black market, easy targets, Iron Dome. Bombing the election and then blaming Chapel Roan.
Jesus.
There it is again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. There it is again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling.
So good. So good.
That song was so beautiful. and devastating.
Have you know the original, right?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
So that is a play on Bo Burnham's. So Bo Burnham did a version in his special that came out during the pandemic.
I did see that, so I must have forgotten it. Yeah.
It's everybody was on TikTok did their own version of it, was doing their own versions of it. It was very viral.
Yeah.
And this is an updated version because it was a TikTok trend that happened.
Yeah.
And so it was very recent. It's based off of a Bo Burnham song.
Yeah. Okay. There's I think it's like in Black American Islam, this belief that it's not that you shouldn't listen to music. It's that you have to be careful what music you listen to because it will get into your heart whether you like it or not.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what, I mean, I love that there's a little bit of this resurgence of sort of like folky, almost kind of like late 60s style.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Modern protest song thing.
Oh, there's a great one about the CEO or the CEO killer guy that just came out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think I really see these times that we're having is like the light is crashing into the dark.
Well, I think
in this way that is like hard for it takes time for the human heart to process, and we're not giving ourselves any time. The only way you can heal trauma is through honoring it, and we never have, so we still live in the shadow of this stuff, right? So it's like, we can pretend it's not there all we want and like drink ourselves to sleep every night and be unable to look away from the screens because there's this part of us that has not been reckoned with, which is like there's still fucking blood on the ground.
Yeah. Again, Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah, totally.
Macy's Day Parade.
Exactly. And then you put that like next to a Happy Meal and you're like, God, everything feels fucking nightmare.
Which, by the way, so apparently this is breaking news as opposed to as we were watching this. So we've talked a lot about the guy who shot the United CEO guy. A person has been found today, as of today.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
And he was found at a McDonald's. I swear to God, that's not even a joke. It's not a joke. In Pennsylvania. But the idea he was at McDonald's is so crazy to me.
He's a folk hero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But to speak on all of this, to that feeling that we're all feeling, because I think what's also with the United CEO guy too, and the Hawk Tuah guy, I think going to this moment of like how we're all feeling like disenfranchised. What's wild about the United CEO assassination and all that stuff is that both sides are kind of like, fuck yeah, a little bit. If you look at the Ben Shapiro's comments, which I think is kind of wild, in the video of being like, we should know this is bad, and like his own fans are like, shut the fuck up, Ben. Like, it's actually really funny. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
My wife was telling me about that. Yeah.
So it's pretty funny.
It seems to be an emerging class consciousness in a way.
And and it's like you don't understand. You're like, oh wow, I'm just like they're waking up a little bit. They're waking up a little bit.
Right, that's the other thing. Like, don't stay asleep. If you're saying like fuck woke, you're saying like, okay, everyone very much stay asleep.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me pull this up because it actually might be worth it. I'm not buying this left versus right shit anymore, Ben. I've been to healthcare for my family, I want healthcare for my family. Seeing rich people so out of touch with this topic and be so clearly afraid of potential class consciousness truly fills me with hope.
Wow.
Surprise, out of touch rich guy defends other rich guys. Hey, Ben, daily listener fan here, just letting you know that your wealth is showing. Don't forget, poor people like us are victims of healthcare fraud. Let's see. There's my favorite comment. I just realized your entire business model requires that us normal folk hate each other.
Wow.
And that's kind of the...
I just realized
that.
What a revelation.
Yeah. So,
this is what I think. Monopoly ends by one person having all the money. This may sound reductive, but that's exactly what capitalism is doing. So these unloving systems are being shaken at their foundational level, right? So what's going to happen is there's going to be an opportunity for things to really change. And I will say I love this class consciousness thing. There's a guy I really love named Open Mike Eagle. I talked about him.
Oh, yeah.
You know that dude, right? His podcast is great. Amazing rapper. And he was saying this thing. He's like, the problem was when they started sharing the video of the CEO getting killed, that started to feel really icky to him. And he was saying, like, I think the celebrating of death in that way is from people who have not lived in places where
people get
gun
shot.
violence, right? So there is this thing I'm going to say to like, watch out to the left, like, hell yeah. And also, we'll have the opportunity to have a bloodless revolution. And what is required is that we understand inherently that we are all of value. Like, there is something beautiful within every one of us that, is covered up by like fucking trauma and rage and fear and all this stuff. But if you sit through that and somehow heal it in any way that makes sense. I'm not prescribing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything that you do.
Well, that's the thing. It's if we are all going through a trauma, there is a level of, hey, there's something that it might be worth something, or we are learning something from it that we can then use to our benefit later.
Dude, entirely. I'm in recovery, right? So I'm an alcoholic. So I'm sober.
Me
sober.
as well.
Yeah, you are too, right?
Yeah.
Sober 16 years. So that's through that. We talked about this briefly, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. So what I learned from that is alcoholism, which is one of the most devastating diseases. And you'll only really know that if you have it or know someone who has it. Because it turns you into a liar, which is a weird phenomenon. Like cancer doesn't do that. You know, diabetes doesn't make you like commit bank fraud. You know, but it's destructive.
Oh, my IBS has made me a fucking asshole. Literally,
I had to embezzle. But right. So we learn this thing that the worst possible thing in the world, when met with understanding, actually leads to this incredible strength. And humanity hasn't learned that for ourselves yet because not enough people have hit bottom. Now, you don't have to hit bottom. You can
it's
start
hard to hit
up.
bottom when you're fucking constantly told, like, that's the thing. It's like, it's a drug. The fucking, here, when you're given a constant potato chip, or when you're fed something that is enough to give you, feel bloated and enough to satiate a part of you that maybe isn't like enough to like feel healthy, but enough to keep you alive. You don't hit bottom. When you're floating at a surface, you'll never actually hit bottom. You know? That's why it's hard.
Right. Yep. I didn't know I had a phobia of flying because I used to just do fucking Xanax so I thought I was and get drunk on the planes and I was fine.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I got sober I was on the plane. I started to feel the experience of why I was taking those pills, because otherwise it was subconscious. In the same way that the phone is fucking you're in your hand looking at it before you think about it. So that's why Carl Jung was all about shadow work.
I didn't know I had social issues until I had to stop drinking.
Yes.
Oh,
dude, and we're saying like community. I think we should also acknowledge the fact that being around people is actually hard. You know what I mean? It's like eating vegetables.
I didn't know
else.
Wasn't hard. I couldn't be mindful because I was constantly trying to fucking go blackout drunk.
Yeah.
I was trying to I love your joke. Like, I've been working on the same joke, but you do it way better about blacking out of like, oh yeah, I could just die for a little bit. That sounds sick, dude. Like,
Fuck yeah. Oh, go away.
Yeah.
Completely.
I fucking hate it here. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I'll end up somewhere else. Somehow, like I'll come to and be in a fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like a Hardee's that I've never seen before.
That's what made me realize. Like, that's what made me stop drinking. Of like, oh yeah, in my 20s, like fucking kill me all day. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh wait, I love my life. I don't want to die anymore. That's when I was like, I should stop drinking.
Dude, and I think it's amazing that I think, not to the same extent or level, but I think almost everyone is dealing with some it's like addiction light.
Yeah.
So who was I might have been Exhibit. Somebody was like, too much of anything will make you an addict. Jay-Z said, what?
I think it was, was it Vanilla Ice that said,
no.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. And that's why we have to build community.
Well, like Jay-Z said, what you eat doesn't make me shit, right? And it's
maybe we should not quote Jay-Z right now.
Well, he said I'm into underage girl. No. But I'm just saying, like, but all this obsession we have with everyone else's stories.
Yeah.
If you,
I think it was Exhibit that said, "Pimp my ride," which is my heart, my mind. Sorry, you were getting to a really good point.
No,
and I was still wanted to do more bits.
These rappers, I love a bit. Rappers say some deep shit and
they do actually. Yeah.
But then also
Immortal Technique. Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, do you know Immortal Technique was Lin-Manuel
Miranda.
He was his bully in high school. Immortal Technique.
Fuck off.
Could you imagine being bullied by Immortal Technique? I would be long dead if I was in that position.
That is that needs to be a movie.
That's better than Hamilton, right?
Because Immortal Technique is probably, for my money, one of the best rappers of all time. To be bullied by the best rapper of all time, to then come out of that to be the most famous composer, rapper, artist, Broadway composer, to come out of that, like, what a story. That's insane.
Isn't that crazy, dude? And also, that's like, it's worse than being bullied by Mike Tyson, and here's why. Because
well, dude, that's like being bullied by Mike Tyson, then coming out as Jake Paul. No, just kidding. That's being bullied by Mike Tyson, and then coming out as like another Mike Tyson.
Yeah, like, totally. Like Muhammad Ali somehow.
Muhammad Ali. Yeah, it's like being bullied by Muhammad Ali and then coming out as Mike Tyson. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Which you're right. When you say it like that, it actually does make sense in a way.
Because that's insane. That's insane.
Isn't that wild, dude?
That's wild.
Yeah, because dude, Immortal Technique, his rage, his narrative abilities, like just technically
because
brilliant
he would
rapper.
create insane stories.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Mike Tyson would hit you and then you would go into a coma and then Mike Tyson would get expelled. But Immortal Technique will sit in your class, stare at you, and write you notes that completely disassembles your sense of being.
Wow, that's so crazy. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Wild stuff. But anyways, we're coming to the end of the show here. We got for a quick game.
Hell yeah.
A game called Wild Opinions. All right. This game's called Wild Opinion. It is opinions pulled from the internet, specifically from our favorite website, Reddit. The subreddit is called Unpopular Opinion. And
Reddit? I didn't know it was a book.
Yeah! Reddit, I didn't even write it. I will say an opinion, and we'll discuss it if we agree or disagree. And for those of you that have wild opinions, please leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube, and I will read that bad boy, that wild ass opinion, on next week's show. All right, ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's go nuts.
All right. Okay, the typical wedding is awful. You agree?
Typical, yes. The typical wedding is awful. Yeah.
Most modern weddings are awful.
Yeah. Because there is again, much like we're talking about Bitcoin, Catholicism, these things are based in the beautiful union between two souls, and then an industry gets created to take money from you. So now all of a sudden, my wife and I, we got married in our house. The only other person, there's two other people there, my mom and my friend who did the ceremony.
Whoa.
I was like, hey, you know what? Let's, instead of having a big wedding, buy like 2 cars or something.
Wow.
And we didn't literally do that, but think of all the money you saved. You know
how long y'all been married?
We got married last year.
Yeah, like recent, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And if she would have wanted it, if it would have been her dream, we would have done it. But she was like, nah. And then we went down to Santa Barbara to like the nicest DMV, which sounds like an oxymoron. But it's like this weird, beautiful kind of Spanish style.
You went to a DMV?
To get the marriage license.
Oh, you do? I didn't know you could do that at DMV.
I thought
you had to go to like a city hall or something.
Maybe it was a city
probably
hall.
City
that
hall.
would make more sense.
You guys go to a DMV. Can we get a joint driver's license, please?
The one in Hollywood.
Can we get a joint driver's license?
She's in a wedding dress.
You guys stood in line for no reason.
Fucking hot and
Can you imagine? That's terrible. Christmas is a dying event. I think I'm going to disagree. I think it's stronger. And in fact, it's better, bigger, badder than ever.
Yeah.
I think it's the same, if not a bigger monster than ever.
Yeah, because people need the chill time. They need the little wonder of the Christmas lights and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gonna go away.
My wife's really hipped me to loving Christmas. It's cool.
Yeah. Did you grow? You didn't grow up with it?
We did, but in adulthood, as an adult male, I start to be like, I'm not 11. I don't need. You know what I mean? I don't need joy in my life.
I don't need it. All right, this one's specifically for you. Skateboarders do not get enough credit for their athleticism.
100,000,000%, and it's not just their athleticism; it's their creativity and taste.
Wow. Okay. Wow. We're going and taste.
Oh my God, they influence fashion to a degree that almost no one realizes.
Not anymore, though.
Yes, right now.
Right now.
Go look at Kyle Wilson, dude. Tell me these kids are not out here. They're dressing in ways that you and I will be dressing in 6 years. Because skateboarding is an aesthetic art form. So it's influenced by music deeply. In the 90s, we had hip hop and everybody was smooth. Then in 2000s, your Jim Grecos, your Ali Bilal's, they started dressing punk. It started to feel a little bit more like the 70s where they were listening to Ted Nugent, shit like that, right?
Okay.
So it's affected by the music, and it's also the clothes tell a story. If you're a punk skater, you get fucking the authentic Sex Pistols fucking jacket.
All right.
All that shit.
All right, but you think the athleticism?
Oh, without a doubt. It's so hard. That's what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
With the acrobatics and
It's
stuff.
a miracle. You make a thing on wheels flip with your feet and then you land on it again.
I would say, yeah, I will say it's so hard.
It's so hard.
It's wickedly so much harder than you
what
would
do they
think it
call
is.
like
the
level?
Tony Hawk made it look so easy.
The level of entry or whatever. The bar is just psycho high.
That said, it's so hard, and the video games make it look super easy.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me almost think there should be video games for like Olympic sports, like gymnastics.
Yeah,
that actually would be sick.
Yeah,
there should be. What's the bar one where they do like the flips and
it's called the bar one.
The bar one. The bar, yeah.
But there's like parallel bars.
Parallel bars.
Yeah.
Why isn't there? Why isn't there an Olympics video game?
Those don't have the inherent rebellion that they capitalize with on skateboard.
I guess so.
But that doesn't mean you can't. Like early on, there was track and field. That was like an 8-bit Nintendo game.
Yeah,
they tried it. They should bring it back. It'd be good.
I think that would be a fucking good game though.
Are you seeing it like the similar kind of first person?
Like you do the flippies, and then there's the saddle where you do like
pummel horse,
and you got to do like the XY and like
yeah,
and then there's the one where the mat. And there's the ribbon. You get to do the certain combos.
I still think there should be an element where you like have to try not to smoke weed, because then you won't be allowed to participate.
Bring it their hard dark life. Then obviously, Then in between, you go to the village. And it's all orgies. That's like a huge part of the game.
That's true.
Obviously, there's a huge orgy element.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, it's most of the game. It's Olympic Village orgy.
The hottest orgies, by the way. It is funny that we put our most attractive and physically capable people.
Yeah, it's actually, that's the main point of the game.
Yeah.
And then in fact, you know how in The Witcher, there's like there's like the sub game of like the card game, right? That's what the Olympics are in the Olympics Village orgy game is.
Yep.
That's you could do that. But the main part of the game is the village sex.
You win by wearing your gold medal to the orgy.
You get more orgy by more Olympics.
Your orgy meter maxes out if you're wearing.
You get the maximum amount of jism.
Yeah.
By the amount of pot you smoke.
Yeah.
And
also sampling, for example, the croissants in Paris. I think there's a whole. Ashley plays. Which is so funny to bring
video games, right?
Yeah, and she's playing I think the last Zelda, and it's such an infinite world. And I'm like, yeah, you should be able to be in Paris. Like, you should go to the Louvre. You know what I mean? You should and not
100%.
Work out, do the orgy. The orgy is for sure the end, right? That's how you win. But take in all the sites. Maybe have a romance with a handsome, literate Parisian man.
Yes.
All that stuff.
Then have one with an illiterate Parisian man. See which one fucks better.
Yeah,
it's probably the illiterate.
Yeah, those dudes fuck great.
They fuck great. What else they got to do? They ain't reading. This sounds great. All right.
Man, I cannot do a rapid fire. It's impossible.
We didn't do it. Anyways, that's been our show. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks,
Mort, really, really appreciate it. And honestly, if you enjoyed this, please go check out his special. It's on YouTube and on Spotify. You can go check that out. It's called Spiritually Filthy. What else? Anything else you wanna plug?
Yeah, Rebrand. It's Rebrand the podcast on all your favorite podcast places. And yeah, I'm just at Mort Burke on Insta and such.
Yes, please.
So hit me up, and I'll be posting comedy dates and stuff. So
yeah, please.
Stand up.
Everybody go check that out. Very funny podcast and a very funny person. You can follow me at Adam R. Mac for some special clips. We just had on TikTok. We had a little. Me and my wife and I. We just had a little video go viral. We're going to be posting some more sketches and stuff like that. But like I said, if you have a wild opinion, leave a comment on this episode or on YouTube or on Spotify. We'll read that on next week's episode. And leave a 5-star review. Really helps us out. I know we talked a lot about capitalism and nihilism, and we're all about building community. And you leaving a 5-star review both helps out the community and capitalism, because that makes that money grow. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate that. I really do. Mort, we're going to end the episode like we always do. We're going to look down the barrel of that camera right there.
Right here.
And we're going to say, that was wild, on the count of 3. You ready? All right. And this was a very special, that was wild. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. That was so much fun.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. That was wild!
It's time to get wild.